Ever tried breaking ties with someone who changes the rules to keep you trapped? It's an exhausting psychological bind, and eventually something has to snap. Jacob and Laban spent 20 years locked in a strategic battle of wits, where deceit was the primary currency. Their history is defined by a prolonged struggle for control rather than family loyalty. This timeline charts Laban's control. Economic sabotage. He alters Jacob's compensation 10 separate times to ensure dependency. But Jacob counters with aggressive breeding tactics. His asset line rapidly outpaces Laban's, accumulating massive holdings and sparking fierce jealousy among Laban's sons. The standoff finally ends through a divine directive. God explicitly instructs Jacob that the time has come to sever this arrangement and return to his ancestral homeland in Canaan. Jacob consults his wives, Leah and Rachel, who happen to be Laban's daughters. They don't hesitate to back him. They recognize that their father has treated them like outsiders and systematically spent the wealth that should have been their family inheritance. They realize that escaping a manipulator requires a total, uncompromising break. You cannot negotiate an exit when the other party holds all the strings. You have to cut them completely. Jacob waits for a tactical window. While Laban is away managing the annual sheep sharing, Jacob mobilizes a massive caravan of his family and his livestock, and he slips away toward the Euphrates River. But Rachel introduces a complication. She decides to steal her father's household idols, known as teraphim. In the ancient Near East, possessing these items often symbolized the legal right to claim the family inheritance. These were not large statues. Archaeological finds demonstrate ancient household idols were small clay figurines, easily grabbed and hidden during a rushed escape. The Hebrew text uses a clever linguistic mirror to describe what happens next. It states Rachel physically stole, the word is watignab, her father's household gods. In the very next breath, the text says Jacob stole the heart, meaning he outwitted Laban by orchestrating the flight. The word used there is wayignab. The physical theft and the psychological deception are bound together by the exact same root. It takes 3 days for Laban to realize Jacob is gone. Enraged, Laban gathers his kinsmen and launches a 7-day pursuit, finally intercepting Jacob's slow-moving camp in the hill country of Gilead. Laban arrives with hostile intent, but the night before he can strike, God appears to him in a dream, issuing a strict legal injunction. Laban is forbidden from harming Jacob, or even speaking to him harshly. This divine warning strips Laban of his physical advantage. What was about to be a violent raid is neutralized, forcing the two men into a tense psychological standoff. Brute force is no longer an option. Laban arrives playing the victim. He accuses Jacob of fleeing secretly, denying a farewell to his grandchildren and stealing his sacred gods. Jacob, unaware of Rachel's crime, bristles with confidence. He throws open the camp, inviting Laban to search every tent, and promising death to whoever is found with the idols. Laban methodically rips through the camp. He searches Jacob's tent, Leah's tent, and the tents of the servants before finally entering Rachel's quarters. Rachel hides the idols deep inside a camel saddle and sits on top of it, telling her father she cannot rise to greet him because of her monthly period. Laban simply refuses to search her seat. Laban walks out empty-handed. He has exhausted his accusations and found nothing, leaving him with no further claim over Jacob's life. Jacob finally breaks 20 years of silence. He unleashes a torrent of rage over the exhausting labor, the freezing nights, the constant suspicion, and the 10 separate times his wages were altered. The master trickster was outmanipulated by his own daughter, ending Laban's psychological hold over Jacob's family. The argument ends without a tearful reconciliation. Trust is gone, and the only way to prevent further conflict is to formalize their separation. They opt for a physical solution to the deadlock. They gather a heap of stones, constructing a boundary marker in the dirt. They name it Gilead, or the witness pile. As you can see in this schematic, they swear a binding legal oath over the rocks. The terms are absolute. Laban will never cross this boundary to harm Jacob, and Jacob will never cross it to harm Laban. It is a pact of formal separation. This family dispute laid the groundwork for centuries of history. That stone marker in Gilead scaled up to become the permanent geopolitical border between the ancient nations of Israel and Aram, or modern-day Syria. These ancient divisions persist. You can see physical barriers that carve through the geography of the modern Middle East, mirroring the treaty made at Galiad. Genesis 31 demonstrates that peace does not always require forgiveness or friendship. Sometimes it simply requires drawing a firm physical boundary and agreeing never to cross it.